So in theory, we should be able to run this. So let's try that. So UV run idea pipeline run. The reason we have this run here is, yeah, let's try this. Help should give us the arguments here. So run is actually the argument that we have that runs the pipeline. Later, you may end up adding some additional arguments here, maybe to just read stats from the database and print them out, or resume a previous pipeline run or things like that. But for now, run is the command that we want. So I'm curious, let's see if this thing actually works. Okay, so it created a run. Oh, look at that, fetched 100 articles, all of which were new, makes sense, and the run completed. So in theory, we should have a whole bunch of articles in our database right now. So this is a good opportunity to take a look at our SQLite database. Again, the database is here in the data directory, ideapipeline.db. Now, the normal way to interact with SQLite is through the command line. So I can use the SQLite 3 command, just point it to the database file, and now we're in here. And then I think it's .schema. Yeah, .schema will actually print the database schema. So we see the tables that we added. Let's do this. So this should return 100 for 100 articles. And there we go. Let's just return the top 3 articles. I'm not doing any sorting in here. So see what this gets. And yeah, there we go. There's a bunch of stuff in here. Now this isn't super easy to read, but it works. We could also ask for more specific fields. I want to show you another nice thing actually, because I found this really nice SQLite 3 editor extension. And this gives you kind of a nice way of viewing database files right in your VS Code. So I already have this installed. If not, search for it. It's called SQLite 3 editor. So now I should be able to click on the database file in here, and it should actually open it in this editor window. Let me close this side panel so we have a bit more space. So by default, it's showing the Alembic version table. That's not very interesting. So here we see articles and runs. Actually gives you a nice little database diagram up there. So yeah, let's look at runs. This should be pretty straightforward, right? So we have the ID for the run, when it started, completed, and there's the status, completed. The last step was fetch. Perfect. And now we can look at articles. And there we see all the actual articles that it fetched. So here's our identifiers, the URL of the article, the source it came from. So a lot of Bloomberg Business, but also some Wall Street Journal, CoinDesk, Ars Technica, and so on. There's the title, the body, published at. So this actually looks perfect. And yeah, they're all associated with the run. You can actually click on this, I think, or maybe right click, go to source record. Yeah, that'll bring us back to the run table. Anyway, I really like this extension. I think it's pretty helpful. For now, let's close this. Okay, so the only thing we want to tweak, and I'm actually going to pull up our past conversation here. So the fetch pipeline step. The only tweak that we want to make is, instead of just getting the first 100 articles, we want to paginate through a bunch of articles. So I'm going to use this prompt, update the fetch step class to paginate through up to 10 pages of articles. Add a constant for the max page count so we can change it later. Stop after you receive a page with no articles. Because I find usually when you run it on a daily basis, you'll get about 1,000 articles. But of course, it depends on the specific sources that you've configured and the date range and all of that. That was quick. That was like 30 seconds or so. Yep, it looks like it added a max fetch pages constant and then updated the logic to iterate through them. Let's actually open this up. Fetch step, perfect. So iterating over all of the pages. If a page is empty, so there are no results, it'll break out of this loop, and then otherwise it processes everything in this one page. So that looks great. Let's run this once. This should also show us whether the upsert is working, because we should be getting back the same 100 articles in addition to a bunch more. Oh, there we go. So it fetched 846 articles, and 746 were new because the other 100 were already there. So that's perfect. I'm not going to bother looking at them all in the database. So this is a nice stopping point for the fetch step. So let's make sure we commit everything to Git. And there we go. That's our very first pipeline step. So the next step will be to run a triage. So that'll be our actual first agentic step.